Hey, what's going on, guys? We're live again with another video. Today, we are going live to share some well awaited transfer news. Some of you guys have been asking me to go live to talk about my thoughts on certain signings that we've had so far and that we've been linked to so far. And I know I've had a long, extended holiday, but I'm back now and I thought I'd go live to share my thoughts on recent links to Noni Madueke, Viktor Gyokeres over Benjamin Tesco, however you want to call him, and the signing of Christian Norgard to Arsenal, which is likely to become advanced in the upcoming days. There is a lot of news to break down. I've been away for a while, but Arsenal have been working behind the scenes, and we also got a welcome to the Arsenal for Zubamendi. So I hope, first things first, I hope he does well at the Arsenal. He is reunited with former Sociedad teammates in Mikel Merino and Martin Odegaard, who both sent him welcome videos during his announcement to the club. Arsenal will soon go on preseason tour as well. I'm not sure if we will be able to get all of the signings in before preseason begins, but we do have a game in Singapore and a North London derby as well. I believe it's in Hong Kong and the Emirates Cup. There's two games scheduled. One is a weekend game and one is a midweek game, and one of the games are against Athletic Bilbao. We are also going to talk about how Nico Williams was tossed around from club to club and ultimately decided to stay at Athletic Bilbao. It was clearly written in the reports that Barcelona were not able to sign him due to registration issues, but I also think it's clear to say that Barcelona have significant financial issues. We do know from January that Barcelona struggled to register Dani Olmo, and it took almost a whole January transfer window just for them to figure out how to register the likes of Dani Olmo. We are hearing news of other clubs like Newcastle signing the likes of Anthony Elanga, who we formerly know from Manchester United. And we're hearing Juventus former Aston Villa player Douglas Luiz and his girlfriend Alicia Lehmann are looking to leave Juventus. We saw a move of John Duran to leave to Saudi in January, and he's got his bag, and now he's left Saudi to join Jose Mourinho. Speaking of Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, the likes of Leandro Trossard, who has been a good servant to the club, you can say, and joined us in a time where his impact off the bench goals in the Champions League last season, and by last season, I don't mean the season that just passed, I mean 2 seasons ago, if we're being honest. I do think Trossard was influential in that team, and especially his goal-scoring ability at a time where we clearly needed it in the Champions League stages. Although we failed to go past the quarterfinals, Trossard's availability and ability off the bench was something I won't take for granted. And, if he does sign to Fenerbahce, we are going to talk about a certain fees being quoted. And it looks like, according to Ben Jacobs, that Martinelli is not seeking a move to the Saudi clubs of Al Hilal. And for me, it is clear that I think Arsenal will keep Martinelli as bench coverage, even though previously this window he was quoted 80 million, which is a very high price tag considering the age of the player versus the age of someone like Leandro Trossard, who is 29. Thankfully, now that this window is getting into full sprung, it also means that Arsenal are looking at former Hale End prospect Abriche Eze, and that's a signing that we do have to activate a release clause for. I do also want to stress the importance of the outgoings just as much as the incomings. Vieira does have an extended holiday due to playing in the international friendlies, in the international tournament. So I don't think that Fabio Vieira will be sold anytime soon until he returns from holiday. We are going to break down this stream pretty quickly. There is a lot to talk about. I don't have any scripts planned, any notes whatsoever, but we're going to get straight into it. So hit the likes, folks. It's been a while since I've gone live. Thanks to everyone for joining. All my regulars, big up to you. Good to see Ryan in the chat. Me and Ryan were going at it on messages back to back on the fee of Noni Madueke. We are going to talk about Noni Madueke to Arsenal because it's looking like he will become the backup to Bukayo Saka. Whether he gets accurate game time or not is not my problem, but it's looking like we are finally getting a backup to Bukayo Saka. It's just a matter of whether he plays or not. I think Arsenal are going into preseason expecting Saka to play every game, when and where it matters, and assuming injuries aside. But let me cue the intro. Thanks everyone for joining. Those of you on Twitter as well. Respects to all of you. Big up Jordan. Big up Omar. Hope you're well. Omar, of course, still elevated from Tottenham winning a trophy. And it looks like Tottenham are after Mohamed Kudus. I know a bid was rejected, but I believe it's a release clause to play. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but it is clear that Mohamed Kudus wants Tottenham. I'm assuming it's because of the game time and the guaranteed game time versus going to another Premier League club. Let me cue the intro and we'll get straight into the stream, shall we? Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with another video. It is the middle of July, almost the middle of July, and Arsenal are ramping up signings. A lot of incoming so far. First and foremost, I do want to say welcome to the Arsenal to Martin Zubimendi. I wish him all the best at the Arsenal. I hope he excels. Being only 26 years old, we hope that he thrives in the midfield, sets the tempo in the midfield. And clearly that is the Thomas Partey replacement. We hope he does well for the Arsenal and does not become injury prone. But I hope to see him excel in preseason as well as any of our other players and our new incoming signings. Then we are going to talk about, okay, so Zubimendi takes new threads in Arsenal, and we'll see him in preseason. Hopefully he does well, and hopefully he adjusts to this team well. He did take the number 36, which is not a cursed number. I know some of you guys say the number 9 is cursed and we shouldn't give it to Gyokeres. We are also going to talk about the Gyokeres situation because clearly I need to hold my hands up in this stream. I was very confident that we would sign the likes of Benjamin Sesko because Arteta really preferred Sesko over Gyokeres and over Watkins. But it's looking like we are in advanced negotiations, and a fee was agreed today for the likes of Viktor Gyokeres. I am going to discuss the fee, but Arsenal's proposal was accepted by Sporting Lisbon, and Viktor Gyokeres, it was reported yesterday by Fabrizio Romano that Viktor Gyokeres has accepted to give up $2 million from his salary in order to facilitate negotiations between Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon. Gyokeres tries his best to give up more money to make the move happen, and in fact, it is reported that Gyokeres will be earning the same amount of money as what Benjamin Sesko is earning at RB Leipzig. And in fact, I do want to say one more thing. The Benjamin Sesko situation is very, very sad situation to say. I think it was clear that RB Leipzig were playing hardball with us. And, I do want to say in this moment, as someone who's been a harsh critic of Andre Berta, you have to give credit to the management, to the board, including Berta and all others involved in the management wise, because we are the type of team where when there's no progress in the striker situation and when there is extreme pressure on us, we often walk away and don't end up with anyone. We've been the club that's been bullied in the market several times, and I think Berta held face-to-face talks with Sporting Lisbon over the situation of Viktor Gyokeres in Portugal, as reported by Sami Mokbel, who is a really reliable journalist. But the old Arsenal would have been bullied in the market or would have walked away with no striker situation. And in fact, we would have stayed with what we had. So I do like that we refuse to be taken for fools. We refuse to be mugged in the market. And we refuse to wait for RB Leipzig to dilly-dally on negotiations. When we saw that the ball wasn't moving, we moved on to the other target, which was Viktor Gyokeres, who was twerking for a move to Arsenal. And the situation between Viktor Gyokeres and Sporting was quite tense. It was almost like Fabregas the situation of Fabregas, where Viktor Gyokeres said he would refuse to turn up to training or play for Sporting Lisbon if he didn't get a move to Arsenal. He wanted the move so bad that he even dumped his girlfriend, sacrificed 2 million for this move to Arsenal. So I really hope this transfer works out for him. And he is a gunman for the Arsenal. So in terms of the fee that's being discussed, the report came out today from Sam CR Reports, who is quite reliable if you've been following him. So the fee for Viktor Gyokeres, and there are several reports. So yesterday, I'm just looking for the tweet now so I can screen share. One moment. In the meantime, we do have to address the situation of Noni Madueke. Sam CR Reports went live today and discussed the fee of Viktor Gyokeres, so that's where I did get that report from. And it's a deal worth more than 65 million. I think 65 million is the fee, including add-ons, from what we're discussing. I'm not sure what kid number he's going to get, nor do I really care, but I know some people are really fixated on that, whether he gets Glock 9 Gyokeres and takes the number 9 off Jesus, or whether he gets a lower number, whether he takes a number 10, whether he takes a number 14. Arsenal have got the ball going, and even now we're moving on to the likes of Christian Nørgaard. It was reported today that now that Nørgaard is back from holiday, Arsenal are going to ramp up the deal to get finalized in the upcoming days, which will be great to see him come into the team. I know he's a young prospect, so I hope he does well. A lot of people are saying he's not the same as Thomas Partey, but I think, you have to give him a chance. And Ben Jacobs reported today that Christian Nørgaard is expected to complete his move to Arsenal within the next 48 hours, a fee of 10 million base fee plus 5 million add-ons if attained. Keep in mind, like, these add-ons either achievable or not. We don't actually know the ins and outs of them. So this is a report from Christian Nørgaard. From Ben Jacobs, who is quite reliable for news, Sami Mokbel, Team News and Ticks, Hand of Ozil in terms of the ITK world of things. But there we go, another signing for the Arsenal. And ironically, it's as soon as he's done from holiday. I believe his wife just gave birth to a newborn child as well. And all of a sudden, the deals are ramping up quickly. People say, how come it's always fast when it comes to a Chelsea signing? I do think part of the reasoning for that is in terms of being able to make the structured payments and the fees. We tend to do a lot of business with Chelsea, as you guys know. Whether that's a good thing or not, time will tell with this signing in terms of Noni Madueke. Personally, I don't think he's going to play a lot, so I don't think it bothers me. And also, it is a low fee from what I've heard. According to ESPN UK, the fee for Madueke is and so in UK pounds, it's 38 million plus 5 million in add-ons. I'm just going to show you guys the ESPN UK tweet as what was reported earlier today for Noni Madueke. So from ESPN UK, it says Arsenal talks with both Chelsea and Noni Madueke are ongoing and very positive, and a deal for a fee of 50 million euros could be done by the end of the week. The 50 million euros price tag that ESPN UK is putting out is all inclusive, including add-ons. So when you're putting that together, that's 38 million plus 5, 43 million euros. It's all inclusive, including add-ons. Mikel Arteta has always been a big fan of Madueke and believes he could develop Madueke into a great left winger. Keep in mind, folks, the previous January window that just passed, Arteta really wanted Noni Madueke, and I believe we inquired to Chelsea the situation of Noni Madueke. But unfortunately, at that time, I don't think Chelsea were willing to let him go. But it was clearly reported by Team News and Ticks in that January window where we were interested in Mbeumo, Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, who is, right now being quoted for over 70 million. Man United have yet to sign him. But Noni Madueke for 38 million, or should I say, under 40 million pounds plus add-ons is a good coverage on the bench. I don't really like his attitude. I'm quite upset in terms of, the type of attitude he brings in the dressing room. But I hope Arteta can work with this as a squad player. And it's clear that Arteta really likes and sees something in Noni Madueke that we don't see. It is a bad thing when Chelsea fans are reluctant to sell him to us. I have a lot of Chelsea fans, and they're saying they don't want to sell him to Arsenal. That is a red flag for them because they know the potential Noni Madueke has. I know sometimes I've seen him in Chelsea games where he's been greedy. Hi, Mr. Tom. Hope you're well. Good to see you, and good to see Rosie and Ian. Rosie, you didn't have to donate a super chat, and thanks for your support. And big up to Moss as well. Big up to UVA Cornercast. Congratulations on the signing of Jonathan David. Hi, Jack. Hope you're well. Good to see you. I guess we're both going to be watching a lot more Serie A now because Jonathan David has signed for Juventus. Although I don't like watching Juventus, I also heard rumors that Vlahovic is probably going to be leaving out the door from Juventus. I wonder who's going to sign him, though, because he has insanely high wages, unless he takes a wage cut, that is. And then the likes of Watkins, could Watkins end up at Man United? And I really hope that's not the case because I still think Watkins, regardless of his age, I think he is a great striker, a good striker. For a team like Man United, you don't want to go there and ruin your career, even though, you're aged now, you're getting older. I hope that's not the case. In terms of the Noni Madueke signing, I don't think this signing will be wrapped up before the preseason tour in Singapore and Hong Kong. I actually think that the situation of Noni Madueke, we wouldn't see him play until maybe the Emirates Cup games. But it was clearly reported by Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein that personal terms were agreed already with Noni Madueke favoring a move to the Arsenal. In terms of Gyokeres over Benjamin Sesko, a lot of you guys are very happy about that deal. A lot of you guys wanted Gyokeres in terms of a proven bagsman. You wanted someone that was already proven, not another project signing in the likes of Benjamin Sesko. I was more on the Benjamin Sesko hype. I think Sesko, trajectory-wise, will have a higher ceiling, but it's something that we have to wait on. You guys have seen the numbers of Viktor Gyokeres in Portugal. I know in Coventry he didn't do so well, and Brighton, but we'll see what happens with him in the Premier League, and I hope he will be the one to take Saka's crosses and head the ball in goal, because with his height, we really need him to do that. I also think that Arsenal will change our system and style of play this upcoming season, potentially becoming more defensive like the likes of Nottingham Forest the season that just ended. It'll be interesting to see our system change when we go into preseason. How are we going to fit Havertz in? Where are we going to fit Havertz and Gyokeres? Will Arteta want to play games where we have Gyokeres and Havertz two main up front? And then the midfield tempo is now we have a whole revamped midfield. Zubimendi, Odegaard, Norgard coming in. The likes of Rodrigo or Eze. It'll be interesting to see. I think Rodrigo is definitely one that tempts me, but with the price tag being quoted and whether he wants to leave Real Madrid, it's clear indications of the case. PSG inquired the status of Rodrigo as well as Manchester City. So I do think Eze is a lot more easier of a deal to work on because of it's just activating a release clause. So I hope Arsenal bring back our Highlander in terms of Abriche Eze and don't do the man dirty twice because he was in our academy and we released him. And also, those of you that don't know, and Noni Madueke was in Tottenham Academy, from my understanding, when he was young. He was released by Tottenham's academy, and then Chelsea brought him. So the profit that Chelsea would make would be over 30% in terms of profit-wise. And I know people are saying, why do we always go back and help out Chelsea? I have no idea. I don't know what Chelsea fetish this club has. But guys, let me tell you something. I know Madueke isn't the best of players, but as a backup to Bukayo Saka, we've been crying out loud for someone to, for us not to run Bukayo Saka to the ground. Does this mean, though, that Ethan Waneri could be out the door? We do have to talk about this because a lot of reports came out earlier this week, and I'm not saying they're credible reports, but a lot of journalism came out this week, clickbait journalism, saying that Ethan Waneri is still in contract talks. But keep in mind, when a player is coming close to contract negotiations, you are always going to hear these kind of buzzwords of them being interested by other clubs or them being tapped up by other clubs. It seems like Todd Bowley already approached Ethan Waneri's family, but it's clear that Ethan Waneri wants to stay at the Arsenal. And I'm glad that Fabrizio Romano came out and debunked the situation that Noni Madueke is a separate deal entirely and has nothing to do with the likes of Ethan Waneri's contract renewal. But let's just hope for the best that he does sign a contract extension. Please keep in mind that when Miles Lewis-Skelly was in contract negotiation talks, we saw a lot of clickbait journalism stating that Miles Lewis-Skelly is interested by Real Madrid. Saliba is soon going to be up for contract negotiations. We are going to see numerous reports of many Premier League clubs and even Champions League clubs like Real Madrid come in for him. So just keep in mind of that when you're reading certain reports in the transfer window. Make sure you think twice about certain reports. Since when did we pay much attention to a preseason friendly behind closed doors? Second game in the training camp. I think you guys are talking about Rangers and Hibernian. Hi, Kumar. Hope you're well. Jose says it wasn't even a comparison between the true strikers. People say Sesko over Gyokeres are insane. A big name, high in quality over a project signing any day of the week. I agree with you. And, I do want to say RB Leipzig tried to mug us off in terms of they wanted 90 million for the 90 million euros or more for that release clause of Benjamin Sesko. And I'm glad we didn't get bullied into doing that. Ian says, I would have been happy with Sesko or Gyokeres, like choosing between your children or like choosing between your parents, which one you like better. Hi, Cole. Hope you're well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're having a good summer so far. Guys, it is really burning hot here. Hi, Jack. Hope you're well. Like the channel rebrand. Rosie, thank you very much for the super chat, hon. You didn't have to do that. I really appreciate it. I thought I'd go live. It's been quite a while since I went live, and I wanted to share some recap of what's happened this week. This week has been a busy week for the Arsenal. Not only did we announce the signing in the men's team of Zubamendi, but we also re-signed Taylor Hinds to Arsenal ladies team and hope she excels with us in the ladies team. But Arsenal men's team still has a lot more signings to do. Hi, Rhino. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying the CFL. You're catching me up in the CFL predictions league. But more so, I think the next signing we will see is Christian Norgard. It was reported today, as I said earlier, by Ben Jacobs, that the signing should be done in the next coming days. 10 million base fee plus 5 million in add-ons. Also, Arsenal are preparing their final offensive offer to close the deal for Mosquera, the Valencia center back. I think Mosquera is going to be the Tomiyasu replacement now that we've released Tomiyasu and that we've we've terminated ties with Thomas Partey. Please don't ask me about the Thomas Partey situation. It will have its day in court, and I am not legally obliged to speak about that topic. I just hope that the victims and whoever involved do get justice served on Judgment Day when it comes down to court and when a verdict is given in court pending trial. In terms of the Thomas Partey situation, nor did I ever say I was defending Thomas Partey, but it will have its day in court as any accused person has the right to do so. Hi, Daniel. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Wow, it's been a while. Hey, Turf Moore, hope you're well. It's been a while since I've seen you on Chris's channel or on your channel. Burnley signing Walker. Well, all I have to say is Burnley probably have the best announcement videos in terms of transfers. So creative. That Kyle Walker transfer video was awesome. Let's just hope Kyle Walker plays well for you guys. And I couldn't believe I wouldn't have had Kyle Walker going to Burnley on my bingo card for this year. Not that's for sure. Rhino says Riders looking pretty good. I did watch the Argos Ticats and I was really disappointed with it, Rhino. But Riders are doing good. And in the baseball world, number one in the East is the Blue Jays, 8 in a row. So that'll be interesting. Oh my gosh, guys! Breaking news. One moment, please. Holy, would you look at that? Okay, so breaking news from Handavozo. Al Hilal, which is the club in Saudi Arabia, are intending to launch another audacious attempt to sign Benjamin Sesko, who we previously tried for. It remains to be seen whether the player could be convinced this time around, as it is believed his preference would be to continue his career in Europe. It almost seems like the club RB Leipzig was holding Benjamin Sesko hostage, and you know, I'm glad we moved on. Like I said earlier, the last big name striker available is Osman. There was news on Victor Osman earlier today that a bid was rejected for Victor Osman to Galatasaray on a permanent deal. So I don't know whether he's going to stay in the Turkish league, but I definitely know he's not going to sign for Man United. Um, and I think Man United are more likely closer to get Watkins or who else? Maybe Calvert Lewin is available. I think Calvert Lewin is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe they'll sign someone like that. They don't really have much to offer. And I really hope in the first game of the season, Viktor Gyokeres scores a hat trick against Ruben Amorim's team. The Man United fans were so confident that they would sign Viktor Gyokeres, and it looks like we're one step further and one step closer to announcing the signing of Viktor Gyokeres and then the likes of Christian Norgard. We also do have to wrap up Mosquera, and I wonder if we're going to go for someone like Joel Hato, who we were previously interested in the January window. Where will Jack Grealish end up? I did see that City were trying to offload Jack Grealish, and they also got rid of a youngster that just signed for them last summer, which was, I was quite surprised to see them want to get rid of him. But I don't know where Grealish will end up. I think the Saudi League would pay the best for him, but I don't think Grealish would want to go there. He's definitely a party guy. We saw Szczesny renew his contract today with Barcelona. I think I couldn't see him leaving there. And we also know that Emi Martinez is out of contract at Aston Villa, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes alongside Aaron Ramsdale. I think Aaron Ramsdale would like a move out of Southampton. I mean, 3 times relegated is not good at all. Grealish going for 40 million at that time. Remember when Grealish left Villa, and this is a while ago now. Grealish was that record-breaking signing, and now it's crazy. It's Florian Wirtz. Liverpool is still with the situation of Diego Jota. It'll be interesting to see how Liverpool does the rest of the business. But with all due respect, I don't think the club is focused on that at this moment because it is very recent to the situation of Jota brothers. My condolences goes out to their family, their friends, and all those affected who knew them, even fans of them. A very, very tragic situation last week that happened. I didn't get to speak about it because I didn't go live, but I did share my respects and thoughts to their family and to their friends on my social media page, those of you that do follow me on social media. And yeah, I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about. Noni Madueke for under 40 million for me is a good price tag. I'm glad we're not getting bullied into the market. Those of you saying, Alanga is going for this price tag, Noni Madueke is not better than Alanga, this, that, and the third. I guarantee you guys, I don't see Noni Madueke getting a lot of game time at Arsenal, and it was clear that he wanted out of Chelsea Football Club. With all due respect, no disrespect to Chelsea or the Chelsea fans in the chat if you're still here, Ryan, but I think, it's clear that, Chelsea are a selling club at the end of the day. And in fact, Handev also did mention that Chelsea inquired about Max Doman and Ethan Nwaneri. There's a reason why Chelsea and Manchester City have the best academies in the world. They take every single player they can get a hand on and get an opportunity on. In terms of signing youngsters and selling, they're very much so a selling club. Tying players down to a 9-year contract means nothing. They will sell you at any given opportunity they can, and that's how business works. In terms of the Club World Cup games, I believe Moss on Moss Sports World will be covering the game on Wednesday with PSG versus Real Madrid, and then Fluminense and Chelsea on tomorrow afternoon, my time, evening in the UK. I think Chelsea will end up winning the Club World Cup again. It sucks. I hope it will be a different team, but I do think Chelsea will retain the Club World Cup and win it 2 times now. That the revenue, by the way, from the Club World Cup is more than the Champions League revenue, which I didn't even know about before. But Chelsea riding on another on a Champions League win to even qualify for the Club World Cup is one to talk about another day. But we'll see how those games go. Fans wouldn't be so unhappy if Madueke was coming from a different club. We said the exact same thing about when we signed Havertz and when we signed Jorginho. A lot of people were against the signing of Jorginho, and Jorginho brought a lot of tempo in the midfield. Sure, he doesn't offer pace in terms of his age and ability wise, but he offers very good pace and tempo in the midfield. And I think a lot of games where we needed stability in the midfield, whether it be in the Champions League, whether it be in the Premier League, Jorginho was a player you could rely on, and he was a leader in the dressing room. I really wanted him to stay for even just a year extension, but you saw he really wanted to move, and he played in the Club World Cup games. I wish him all the best at his new club, and it's unfortunate that he's no longer with us. Hopefully, we get another senior players like that stepping up to the table in terms of that leadership role and opportunity for our young ones. Hi, Chris. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Your birthday's coming up in a few weeks. Welcome back from holiday as well. I know you went on a short holiday. Guys, it was extremely, extremely burning hot in Switzerland and Germany. It was 38 degrees with no air condition and only one small desk fan for the entire house was unbearable with so many people sharing Airbnb. I traveled to attend my cousin's wedding. I did post some pictures online. And that's why I wasn't able to go live. But I was keeping up with the transfer news whenever I could, and whenever I could watch a Club World Cup game, I was in the chat either on Moss Sports World or on Jordan's channel because they were doing back-to-back watch-alongs for it, or even at times they streamed together. J20 was a good signing. I agree. I think he was a good signing. And Cole says, I think Willian and Gallus still leaves a sour taste in our mouths. Yeah, and I think more recently you could say Raheem Sterling, the signing of Raheem Sterling was a terrible move. No ambition whatsoever. Didn't even try. Put more effort in the announcement video than he did all season wise. In terms of whenever he was called upon to play, I think it was only Preston, the game where he scored in. I mean, it's Preston. Thanks, Ian, and big up, Rich. I did see your stream yesterday. You did a call-in show on Discord. I have Discord, but I haven't joined your server yet, so I'll get going to that because I would love to call into one of your shows. I know you spoke about the Gyokeres situation and the Mbeumo situation. It's now week 3 of you guys trying to get Mbeumo, which is just one signing as it stands. Hopefully you guys can get that wrapped up because I know you're still looking for selling Hoyland before you can get a striker. I personally think Watkins will end up at Man United. Hopefully I get one of these transfer predictions right because so far I'm 0 for 1 right now. I thought we would get Sesko over Gyokeres, and boy was I wrong. Mr. Job says, I like Melina's insights. Knowledgeable is the word. Thanks. I really appreciate it. I'm very honest and very direct. I quote sources that are genuine, that I find genuine, and that I think are very trusted in terms of reliability. I don't believe everything I read online on Twitter. Twitter can be a cesspit, especially in the transfer window. You'll hear all kinds of news the minute they know we need a winger or they know we need a striker. We'll be linked to every name under the sun. I'm surprised they haven't linked us with Dusan Vlahovic again because for like 3 seasons in a row, we were linked to Dusan Vlahovic. And I'm pretty sure we didn't even inquire about Dusan Vlahovic. Hi, Josh. Hope you're well. Good show earlier, the podcast. I did catch that live. Well, nice to hear your take on Gyokeres. I know you're very happy for that signing. I hope he does well with us, and he'll be a bagsman for us. And I'm excited to see the mass celebration once he scores at the Emirates. The Emirates will be rocking. Um, I feel a bit sorry for Watkins after Villa stitched him up in January and wouldn't let him join us. Yeah, the thing with that John Duran situation was Villa didn't want to let both of them go at the same time. And then I think the price we offered, I think we bid 40 million and the price we offered was declined right away. It was too low. They valued him at above 50 million. Arsenal didn't want to pay that price tag for his age at the time, so we didn't end up signing anyone. Some people agreed that we should have still signed Watkins because we were desperate in that window. As you guys know how things ended up. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and now we know the situation. I do think Man United will end up with either Watkins or Calvert-Lewin. I just can't see them getting a big name striker this window or this season in general. In terms of Isaac, the Isaac situation, I can't see Newcastle selling Isaac this window. And if magically that was to happen, I do think I can see Liverpool going for Isaac and selling Darwin Núñez. We've already seen reports of Liverpool's interest in selling Darwin Núñez in terms of other clubs' transfer news. We've already We've already known that Liverpool want to get rid of Darwin Núñez, and in our situation, we need to get rid of at least one or two first-team players to make squad space, and that's why I think we're going to keep Martinelli as bench coverage and instead end up selling the likes of Leandro Trossard. Fenerbahce, by the way, a few days ago, there was an article, I'm just looking for it now. There was an article reporting that Fenerbahce want to buy Trossard, but at only 18 million euros, which, for the age that Trossard is, I don't think we'll get more money from any other club. And I also don't think that Saudi Arabia maintain interest in Leandro Trossard. According to Turkish news sources, work has begun for the transfer of Leandro Trossard in Fenerbahce. Let me just share this article now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So it says here, work has begun for the transfer of Leandro Trossard in Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce, which made plans for star transfers with the approval of Jose Mourinho, negotiates for Leandro Trossard as of now. Fenerbahce, who made contacts for Leandro Trossard, who entered the last year of his contract with Arsenal, want to sign the Belgium star quickly. I think that this is a signing that we need to accept the sale of. I think if we wait any longer, Fenerbahce will lower the price tag that they're offering. And I also don't see any other club coming in for Trossard because of his age. I'm not disrespecting Leandro Trossard. I am putting this into perspective in terms of his age. I don't think he's not injury prone, but 18 million euros to Fenerbahce, I think that's the best we're going to get. And if you guys can do any better than that in terms of, if you were on the board, then so be it. But I don't think we're going to get any more than the 18 million that Fenerbahce are willing to offer us. And, I also think that Trossard it's a good move for Trossard to go to Fenerbahce. Now, keep in mind, maybe if he takes low wages, we can do better. But we don't have the cap space in terms of our squad size to keep so many wingers. We are not Chelsea Football Club to have 50 wingers in our starting 11 or on the bench. I understand that Saudi Arabia offered us 30 million last year for the sale of Leandro Trossard. But last year's price, or like they say, yesterday's price is not today's price. And I know people will say, what are they smoking there in Istanbul? Because 15 million euros is not a lot of money when you convert it in pounds. But, we are so used to losing players who are, in their last year of their contracts on a free or terminating their contract by mutual agreement. And I don't want any of those to happen. So take that 18 million euros and run with it. And I'm not saying we need to sell before we can buy. If that was the case, we would have never brought Viktor Gyokeres. And we'd still be linked to Ebrice Eze, still be linked to Christian Norgard, still be linked to Jurel Hato, Mosquera, and even potentially Rodrigo. It is not a financial issue that I'm mentioning in terms of Arsenal's situation. It is a cap space issue in terms of squad space. So I just do want to say that I think, over the two wingers we have in the first team, it was clearly reported today that Martinelli has no interest in Saudi Arabia and that Arsenal are not interested in selling Martinelli. I will give you guys that post momentarily once I find it, from David Ornstein. This is proof from David Ornstein himself. He said it earlier today. There are not any known movements, talks, or developing situations regarding Gabriel Martinelli leaving Arsenal, and quoted by David Ornstein. From Arsenal's journalist mouthpiece himself, David Ornstein, saying that currently there is no talks, no movement, plans whatsoever for Gabriel Martinelli to be sold. Contrary to Ben Jacobs, evaluating Martinelli at 80 million if Al Hilal were to buy Gabriel Martinelli. I think we should keep Martinelli as squad depth and sell the likes of Trossard. I also think that there's no way to buy someone like Rodrigo if he was even interested or available if we don't get rid of one or two first team players. And please don't bring Ethan Nwaneri into this conversation. I do not want to hear anybody mention to sell Ethan Nwaneri to make money. Financially, we are not in a situation where we are financially struggling. We are finally shopping at Harrods and the big House of Frasers, no longer at Primark, no longer at Poundland. Also, Fabrizio Romano earlier today said the same thing, that Saudi Arabia is no longer interested in the likes of Martinelli. He said there are not any talks taking place with Al Nassr over Gabriel Martinelli, and the Saudi side are working on other targets, debunked by Fabrizio Romano himself. So I don't know how else to tell you guys this, but between the wingers we have available, we are not selling Saka. We are not selling Martinelli. Clear indications we're not selling Martinelli. And I know people will say, take the money. 80 million is a lot of money. Take the money and go. But the player himself has to be willing to have a move there, or have a move in general. And I just can't see that happening. So for me, Trossard, he's very much older. I think Martinelli is way too young to go to Saudi. You saw John Duran, look at his age. And within one season, John Duran requested a move away from Saudi Arabia to go to the Turkish league. And I'm not saying every player is going to be the same, but with the age of Martinelli versus the age of Trossard, I would sell Trossard in a heartbeat. And, that's no disrespect to the player. I do respect everything he's done for the club and him being a loyal servant to the club, but business needs to be done. And 18 million euros, I know it's a joke in terms of the fee, but when you think about it deeply in terms of the age, the price tag, the player profile, I think we should accept this deal from Fenerbahce. But we'll see what happens. And those of you who say other teams might become interested, I just can't see that happening, especially not in the Premier League. Let me just go through some comments. Amika says, great show, honest opinions. Thanks, Amika. Hope you're well. If they announce Abriche as they next, I won't deny my excitement. Okay, can I just say two things about these announcement videos? I have two requests by Arsenal Football Club if they ever see this video or on Twitter. My first request is Gabriel Magalhaes, center back, his celebration of Viktor Gyokeres' mask celebration needs to be in the Viktor Gyokeres transfer video. And, a rendition of that or any variation of that needs to be in the Gyokeres transfer video. I would even go one step further to say that song Mask Off by Future should be in the transfer video. That would be awesome. The second thing I want to say in regards to the Abriche Eze transfer video, I would love to see a video of Abriche Eze in Hale End Academy as a kid, and then, transition to him signing for Arsenal in current day time. Like, you can't do the man dirty twice. You can't lead a man on twice. We released him from the academy. We are now going to re-sign him. We need to have some emotional context in there of him in the Hale End Academy and then re-signing for us many years later. And it is clear that we've already agreed personal terms with Ebriche Eze. It's just a matter of paying the release clause to Crystal Palace. Mind you, Crystal Palace, Rob Holding, Eddie and Katia. Sure, and Katia didn't really work out for them, but I do like to say I think we have a good relationship with Crystal Palace, and it's a release clause, so I don't even think a relationship matters. But those are my two requests this transfer window in terms of announcement videos. I just need to put that out there. Hi, Fresh. Hope you're well. And good to see Dan in the chat. Dan Gunner will be live tomorrow. I believe it's quiz night over there on his channel at 10:30 UK time, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. That'll be awesome. What about a deal for Ebriche Eze? We were just talking about it, Ishmael. Ebriche Eze is a release clause. We still have not activated his release clause, and I don't see this move happening anytime this week. I do think that Norgard deal will be wrapped up this week, and that's pretty much it till the weekend. Hi, Tyrell. Hope you're well. It's been a while since I've seen you. I hope you're having a good summer so far. And a lot of people are asking, I know Josh asked me, Truguna asked, Mel, when do you think we're going to get Here We Go for Viktor Gyokeres? I said midweek. It could be the end of the week. But I do think Christian Norgard and the Here We Go for Viktor Gyokeres should be wrapped up by the end of this week. You haven't been live for a while. Thanks, Tyrell. Yeah, I haven't been live for a while. I went on holiday for almost 3 weeks, and then I just went back to work. So it's been a while, and then I said I was gonna go live. I didn't really know what to talk about, and then finally Arsenal did business, signed people, so I thought I'd go live. So I'm live now. Thanks for catching me live, Tyrell. You guys already know I don't really tell people when I'm going live. So once you see me, you see me. And if you don't, you watch the replay. If you're interested, if you're not, it is what it is. I'm not like certain other channels that beg for views or spam my links in their chats. I find that very disrespectful and rude. When are we getting the announcement for Gyokeres? Hi, Israel Lawrence. Hope you're well. You are watching from Twitter. Respects to you. I don't know when we're getting the Here We Go for Gyokeres, if I'm being honest. But I do think that if I was a guessing man, I would say by the end of this week, we would hear a Here We Go for Norgard and a Here We Go for Gyokeres. Any deal for Valencia center back Mosquera? In terms of Mosquera, I don't even know the fee for him. I know the fee for Madueke, and I know the fee for Gyokeres. I was really worried in terms of the fee for Noni Madueke because Chelsea wanted 50 million. Arsenal refused that, and we met in the middle at 38 million, which is under 40, like I heard. So I think that's a good deal for a backup, especially someone that's not going to be playing a lot of minutes, regardless of the competition. It's clear that he was also okay with the game time. How do you get this XP thing in your chat? This looks class. Josh, I have no clue. Somebody told me the other day about it, and I didn't even know what they were talking about. And then when I went into Moss's chat room, people were telling me about, or like Moss was asking about it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Imagine if Norgard announcement and Gyokeres Here We Go happens tomorrow. Arsenal, just FYI, guys, Arsenal like to do announcements on Fridays, from my understanding, and from the past. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hear anything on Friday for Norgard. We did hear from Ornstein that a deal for the Christian Norgard and from Ben Jacobs should be wrapped up in the next coming days. I had it in my stream the other day, this XP thing. So it's a new thing on YouTube where those of you that interact a lot in terms of putting comments, it just rates you guys from 1 to 3, like top 3. Hi, Geeks of Muckleby. Wow, lots of dance chat in here. Hopefully you guys see you around tomorrow, when the pub opens at the Gooner channel. Check that out if you haven't already. And Moss will be live on Wednesday on Moss Sports World for the Club World Cup semifinals. Big up, Chris. I will wish you on your birthday. I almost forgot the number. I was like, I think it's the 24th, but I was wrong. I was off by 2 days, though, so I'm not that bad of a friend. But I did want to confirm with you. That's why I asked the other day. Norgard still not for me. Can I just say the signing of Christian Norgard? Yeah, people are gonna say he's not really elite level quality or a level raiser, the words that people like to use. But I do think that you can't really judge a player for Arsenal until they've actually played for us. We've been proven wrong about a lot of signings. I also need to say that when we signed David Raya from Brentford, I didn't want him. I was really reluctant. And the first couple of games we had David Raya, he was terrible for us. And now look at him in Champions League nights. He was awesome. Maybe I'll get it soon. Yeah, I don't know if you need to activate it on Studio, but I do think that it's automatic from what Rosie was saying in the chat. I think it's a new YouTube update if I'm being honest. Norgard is a fantastic replacement for Jorginho at a great price. Yes, the price tag of 10 million plus 5. And I do think it's a good signing in terms of squad depth. A lot of these people that are saying this signing isn't for me are the same exact people who complained that we didn't have squad depth, are the same people that said, oh, our squad's not good enough to compete on all fronts. And then when we're finally signing squad players who are agreeing to low fees, you're complaining about, oh, it's too much money or it's too much wages, as if the money's coming out of your pockets. Like, you know, those of you guys are never satisfied. Some of you guys are never satisfied. You find any reason to complain. And I'm not saying specifically anyone in this chat, but I'm just saying in general, the situation in terms of social media, Arsenal social media. And I specifically say Twitter, because some of you guys complain just for the sake of moaning and complaining and bitching about. You say we don't have squad depth. Then we finally get squad depth, and you complain, oh, they're on high salaries, or they're on this, or they're on that. Sorry, that's my rant over. Israel says, why are we considering Noni Madueke? We need level raisers now, not average players. I'm sure we will get to the final of the Champions League, but do we have the armory to beat a team like PSG? First of all, PSG, 9-men PSG, they 2 red cards in that game, that PSG Club World Cup game, and they still got through in that game against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich couldn't even beat PSG, a 9-man PSG, that Bayern Munich team. And you know, the Jamal Musiala injury was very horrific, but people expected us to roll over that PSG team. Your profile picture is the biggest catfish. I am not a catfish. You can fuck off respectfully, and at least I show my face. Instead, you show a picture of a tiger. You can piss off and go do one and suck your mom while you're at it. I'm not tolerating rubbish like that. Mr. Jha says the Norgard signing might be, and I hope so, because we're getting Buadi in January. I haven't seen Buadi play. I'm not sure how good he is, and I'm not the type of person to comment on players I've not seen play. What actually is happening with Ethan Nwaneri's new contract? We haven't heard any new concrete details about Ethan Nwaneri's new contract. The last thing we heard was he was in contract negotiations. And Chinadu, I did mention earlier that when players are often in the finals in contract negotiations, you are going to hear clickbait articles of them being linked to other clubs. You are going to hear clickbait articles of them interest from other clubs. I used the example of Real Madrid wanting Miles Lewis-Skelly, and then lo and behold, Miles Lewis-Skelly signs a new deal. Jose says overplaying while ignoring other players in the squad. Yes, I will blame the manager. I'm not sure what are you talking about? Saka's game time? I think coming from the guy without the pick, that's what I exactly said. And I look the same as with makeup or without makeup. And I don't know why this person is commenting that on a football stream, respectfully. If you're here to watch me, this isn't OnlyFans, and I don't do any of that stuff. I love my sports, and you best believe I'm going to talk all sports all I can. Geeks of Maccabee says, Madueke, Kepa, Mascara, Norgard are here for this season for substitutions, rotations, and injury cover. Very sensible by Arsenal. A lot of people complained in terms of, you know, and even myself, I said the gap between our first 11 and the bench was a significant drop off from A to B. There were times where if Saliba got injured, This was when we had Rob Holding. Rob Holding was the backup to Saliba, which was a significant downgrade. And gone are those days. But we've been through the shitholes. We've been through those days. So the bench players we have now are not as much of a significant drop off, and they're called squad players for a reason, on low wages that we can manage, and cheap transfer fees. um Look at the likes of I wouldn't say Liverpool, but Man City, the bench of Man City. It's not always going to be quality players. You're going to have some level raisers, and you're going to have some people who will do a shift off the bench, and you don't complain to be on the bench when you give them opportunities like that. The likes of a Jorginho, the likes of El Neni, for example, they did that. And then we can rotate Havertz and Gyokeres. If we sign Ebriche Eze and if we sign Rodrigo, I don't see Eze starting every game. I do think Eze is a quality player, and it's clear that he's interested in a move to Arsenal. But for us to finally strengthen our squad and bring in a whole new midfield, it is a move in the right direction, and it is a long overdue move for this football club. Hi, Charlie, big up to you. I was watching your stream, and then I decided I'd go live, as I haven't been live in a long time. I'll blame him for everything within his power. Tyrell says, this Noni Madueke situation is just a joke for me. Why are we going for this guy? Tyrell, let me break it down for you. The fee in terms of Madueke's signing, it's 38 plus 5, so 43 million, all inclusive. And this guy is probably not going to see as much games as Bukayo Saka. We are going into this preseason games, even the Emirates Cup, assuming that Saka is going to play every game. God forbid that something happens to Bukayo Saka. That's when we see Noni Madueke play, or in Carabao Cup games, or in FA Cup games where you want to rotate and rest Saka. A lot of people were crying out loud while we are 3-0 up in games that don't matter. Why is Saka still on the pitch? Now, finally, we have a viable backup to Bukayo Saka, and people are still crying. And, let me make this clear to you guys. I am not, Noni Madueke, the player, is a good footballer, a talented footballer. If you see him play for England, if you see him play for Chelsea, he is a talented footballer and a good backup on that wing, like the likes of Bukayo Saka. And I'm not saying he's the same caliber of Bukayo Saka, but he is young. He has a good trajectory. Maybe he could be one for the future. We don't know. But what I do know is I did not like Noni Madueke, the personality, in terms of attitude. I was concerned of that. And I am still concerned in terms of his attitude. That's why I was hesitant in that signing. But the fee you're paying for a backup isn't so expensive. And I don't think it's an issue. And I also don't think it affects Ethan Nwaneri. We need to make that clear, because Fabrizio Romano already debunked that for us, that the signing of Noni Madueke does not affect Eze, does not affect the likes of Ethan Nwaneri's contract extension. And Moss, spot on. MLS, Ethan and Max Dowman ain't going anywhere. Mr. Zhao says, Melina Buwadi is a Gundogan reign, effective in all phases, a 6 and 8 generational. We need to sign him. I've not seen him play. I'll look him up, and I'll look him up though. Geeks of Maccabi says Ethan will sign. It was a complete non-issue. Shocking that the football world are hovering, hoping we don't find an agreement, as he is one of the best young talents in the world. They did the same exact thing for Miles Lewis-Skelly when they linked him to a move to Real Madrid. And then, this happens. It's common when players are in their final year of their contract, when they're in contract negotiations, you will hear all sorts of links. MCX Kandu says, I feel Madueke is a perfect fit to suit the responsibilities of the right side of the pitch. He might have been at the wrong environment, but trust me, he is that guy. This comment is spot on. In terms of Madueke's attitude, you saw when he went to Wolves, he played against Wolves, and he made an Instagram post before the game saying everything about this place is shit. And he tagged Wolverhampton Wanderers. And, the Chelsea are now playing Wolves, and Madueke scores a hat trick against Wolves, lo and behold. But he's a young player. I think his head's not all there. He wants to look cool, and this type of Mandem FC vibes that Chelsea have going on. But I hope Arteta can get him grounded, and I hope this move to Arsenal. Some people want to change in a job. They want a better environment. So he's not going to take a bench role at this stage of his career unless it's Real Madrid. Are you talking about Ethan Waneri? This Madueke deal makes no sense to me considering his age and his career. There's no way this signing is legit, in my opinion, because he's not going to play behind Saka for club and country. Saka is his direct competition. Yes, I'd rather us go for Johan Bakayoko. I called for us to go for Johan Bakayoko, but I don't think PSV are willing to sell Johan Bakayoko. So as much as we think this is FIFA and Football Manager, we cannot go for players that the club don't put up for sale. Sure, we can top them up and try to poach and approach them, but I don't think we're getting anything more from that. Hi, Fraser. Hope you're well. By the way, PSV's Johan Bakayoko, very good to watch on the eye, very silky footballer. I would have liked to for us to sign him as well. Is Eze off then if we get Madueke? No, Moss. I did mention earlier that Eze and the deal of Ebriche Eze's release clause and signing Noni Madueke are two separate things and indifferent from each other, meaning that it doesn't affect one another. Fraser, thank you very much for the super chat. Very thoughtful of you. You didn't have to do that, mate. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone who's tuned in right now. I know it's quite late in the UK, but I appreciate all of you watching. I know it's just past midnight in the UK, and I've been going live for an hour now. I hope Ethan Waneri does sign a contract extension, and I'm confident that he will. A lot of people think that, we're afraid, red flags instantly, because they saw that Noni Madueke, it means that Ethan Waneri could go the other way. I don't think that's the case at all. And Fabrizio Romano already debunked that 3 days ago now, that Ebriche Eze and Noni Madueke are two separate deals. Whether we sign Rodrigo or not is question marks for me right now. I just can't see it happening, not in terms of the price tag and the player's interest to join Arsenal. I just can't see us getting the space for him, and I just don't see him wanting to join Arsenal. Maybe he goes to PSG, or maybe he ends up staying on the bench at Real Madrid. Big ups, Flicks. Thanks for joining. That's just one player that I'm not entirely confident on whether we sign him or not. But of course, as soon as we get updates, I will update you guys accordingly. Whether we sign him or not, it'll be interesting to see how this goes in the rest of the window. And a lot of us are waiting for the likes of the Valencia center back in Mosquera, Christian Mosquera. We hope to see him do well. He is a young center back, and if those of you have watched him play at Valencia, he is quality, and I think he'll be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. One for the future, definitely. And I think he suits our system tactically and in depth in terms of his gameplay and style of play. I think he'll do well at Arsenal. We'll find out after the World Cup. Ethan Waneri's progress will be stalled if he's not playing and in his preferred position. Big up, Flicks. I don't think this is an issue for Ethan Waneri. Surely if he's signing a contract extension, he knows what's in the terms of that contract, and he knows what he's going to be signing into. As much as we think these players are still kids, we know that their agents or themselves, they know what they're doing, especially for playing for a football club like this. Sure, you can say the signings of Omari Hutchinson and Chido Obi Martin didn't necessarily work out. Cosio Dewberry, we saw Bolton. He went to Bolton Wanderers on loan again. We'll see what happens with Ethan Waneri, but I do think that he will commit his future to Arsenal, just like MLS has done already. Hi, Anthony. Thanks for joining. Mate, I did see you earlier. Take care. Have a good night. I am going to wrap up the stream as well in just a few minutes. I've been going live for an hour. I appreciate all of you who joined. It's been a while since I went live. I just thought I'd do a transfer breakdown on everything we've heard so far. Some of you guys aren't on Twitter, so you don't necessarily see these updates live as they come in terms of from Fabrizio Romano or what we hear from David Ornstein. But hopefully we see more news and hear more news on here we go for Viktor Gyokeres and finalizing a deal for Christian Norgard, and then go for Ibrice as they activate his release clause and bring back the Hale Ender home. You know, you always find your way home, and Ibrice as they it would be awesome to welcome you back to the Arsenal with open arms. Easton's position is seen as an 8 to 10, apparently, according to Ornstein. I did see that. Make sure to check out Dan's touching tribute to Diego Jota if you haven't seen it yet. That was a very, very awesome tribute to Diego Jota. Again, I did mention this on the day that we all heard the tragic news that Diego Jota and his brother passed away in a tragic car accident. My thoughts goes out to himself, his brother, his family, his friends, and everyone who is touched by that situation. It has definitely shaken the city of Liverpool and Merseyside in general. I think it brings the club closer together. And, you know, seeing Ibrahim Konate's tribute to Diego Jota really put me in tears and put life into perspective. I've lost a close friend of mine to liver disease at a young age, and he was one that really taught me that, you know, take each day as it comes, but don't take anything for granted, and always check up on people you love and people you care about. If you haven't heard from someone you care about in a while, you know, touch bases with them. A lot of people are so busy in their own life, like so busy working, that you don't really take the time to check up on your friends or check up on people you care about. And, you know, people always think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll check up on them tomorrow, or I'll go see them tomorrow. And tomorrow, unfortunately, doesn't come for everyone. And that's the sad reality of life. Tomorrow's never promised. So don't take anything for granted. And it's very sad that Diego Jota is leaving behind 3 young children, one of which will not know who their father is from reality, but only from pictures. And, you know, my heart goes out to the city of Liverpool and the football club affected by this situation. I didn't want to do a tribute video because I didn't want to put the attention on me like some other channels did, but I did convey my thoughts and regards several times on that situation. And it's very, very upsetting. I couldn't believe the news when I heard it in the morning. Ian asks, what games are you planning to get at the start of the season? So speaking of that, Ian, I didn't enter the Leeds ballot, and I didn't renew my season ticket this season, the rental that I had. I didn't renew it. So I think I'm gonna try to come down in September, closer to my birthday. It'll be nice to meet up, Ian, and go to some games. I wanted to go to the Emirates Cup. I was looking at hotels, but the prices are crazy for hotels. I think it was around 150 a night. I did see some better ones in Romford, but it's quite far away in East London, and I don't think I want to commute to and back that late after a game. But I know those of you that struggle to get tickets, the Emirates Cup games tickets are up for sale as of today, and they are quite affordable compared to Premier League tickets and compared to Champions League tickets. So those of you that want to go see our new signings in action, the Emirates Cup games, there is one weekday game and one weekend game confirmed now for, I think it's August 8th. But I'm just going to check now and let you guys know. August 9th or 10th, I believe. Let me just... And I think the tickets are already on sale for those. So those of you interested, you know, you can get it. I'm probably just gonna end up watching it online, but Emirates Cup is always good to go watch in London, in nice London weather. Travelodge Canary Wharf is cheap. I have family in London, but I don't want to stay with them because they have young kids, and I feel like I'm a hassle whenever I go there. Like, I don't want to disturb or be a burden to anyone. Even though they get upset when I stay in a hotel, I kind of like that peace of mind and that liberty to go and go out and come whenever I want. There's also I forgot what it's called. There's one in Wembley. My friend stayed in. It starts with a K. I can't remember what it's called. But it's like a hotel motel. It's right across the Wembley Stadium. My friend Daniel Blanguner stayed there when he came from Devon for the Charity Shield a few years ago when we were in it. Yeah, I don't think I'll be making the Emirates Cup. If I do travel in August, I don't see myself traveling in September. So I really want to hope that I can celebrate my birthday in London. That would be awesome. My birthday's in September, and catch an Arsenal game. This season, I hope to be able to go to more games like I was at last season. But I know I'm not counting on that ballot system. That ballot system is still rubbish. I don't think they've improved it at all, if I'm being honest with you guys. But hope everybody has a lovely rest of your evening, night, wherever you are across the world. Thanks so much for locking in and tuning in with me for over an hour now. Shout out to Jose, Rosie, Cole. Thank you, Fraser and Rosie, for the super chat. Shout out to Jordan, Moss Sports World, Flicks, Cole, Fresh, Geeks of Muckleby, Flicks, Tyrell, Lawrence, Ian. Thanks to all the regulars, Charlie, Mr. Zhao. I'll be live probably on Wednesday next. Shinadu, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to everyone who tuned in on Twitter as well. Thank you to Rich Sports. Thank you to Dan Gooner. Please do check out Dan's tribute to Jota on the Gooner channel. He'll be live tomorrow, where the virtual pub doors open, and I think it's quiz night tomorrow on the Gooner channel. That'll be at 10:30 British time and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Jose says, I can't wait to see the long sleeve kits back on the pitch. It's going to be awesome. Hope the long sleeves stick to the fan base, not the players. That's savage. Or get better at falling when the opposition grabs the shirt sleeves. Take care, everyone, and stay safe. See you in the virtual pub tomorrow on the Gooner channel. Thanks to Jordan. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. And thanks to Anthony. If I did leave your name out, thanks to Mr. Tom, Omar for joining earlier, Sage, Wizzy, Philip. Appreciate everyone who's joined, Amika. Hopefully I didn't leave anyone out, but I do want to thank each and every one of you. We are on the road to 11K now. We're on the road to, and I'll do another one of these maybe on Friday or Wednesday. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a restful evening and night. Take care and have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone. And make sure to please like the stream if you haven't already. I appreciate everyone who joined on Twitter as well. And thanks for your time. Bye, everyone.